Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stampin' with Kim. My name is Kim Myers, and I am excited to be here to share a fun card with you today. I want to go ahead and do a quick introduction. My name is Kim Myers, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I have been with Stampin' Up! Over 28 years, and I currently live in Fall River Mills, which is in the northeastern part of California. So my favorite things to do are to create fun fold cards and 3D projects, and I love to fly fish. So that's why when I first saw this bundle in the Stampin' Up! Catalog, this was the first on my wish list. So this top card here that I created was actually one that I gave to my husband last week. So it's a Trifold shutter card. Let me go ahead and show you how it works. Whoops, got to give it a little bit of coaxing sometimes. It wants to go every which direction, but it's a really fun card to make. And this one here I created using the Gone Fishing bundle as well as the Wildlife Wonder. So, but the card that I'm going to make for you today, we are going to just work with products from the Let's Go Fishing suite. And then this other card here is one that I had created for my dad for Father's Day. So we're actually just going to create a variation of this card. So let's go ahead and get started. I hope that you will subscribe and ring the bell to get notifications anytime I upload a video or when I go live. I'm actually over on Facebook as well at Stampin' with Kim, so I do post a lot of other things over there. So I hope that you'll join me on both platforms as well as Instagram. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the base of our card. So you're going to want to bring in your Stampin' trimmer, a piece of cardstock that is 5.5 by 11. And then today I'm also going to bring in my stylus. I went live last week on Facebook and I was doing it just with the cutter. However, this little tool makes all the difference. It makes it a whole lot easier to score your project. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up the arm on our trimmer. And let's turn our paper to the 5.5-inch side. And what we're going to do is we're going to line it up at 1.25 inches. And so the first part, we're just going to do 2 cuts. So I'm going to stand up for this. So let's go ahead and move it to the 2-inch mark. And then, so we're going to cut starting at 2 inches all the way down to 9 inches. And then go ahead and lift the arm of your trimmer. Scoot your paper over to 4.25. And let's reposition the cutting blade. Actually, it stayed in place at the 9-inch mark. And let's go all the way back up to 2 inches again. Okay, so then let's go ahead and turn our card. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a bunch of scoring lines. So let's go ahead and line it up at 2 inches. I'm going to go ahead and scoot the cutting blade down to the bottom. And what we're going to do is we are going to take our stylus and we are going to score down to 1.25 inches. Lift up your stylus and go from 4.25 to 5.5. Then let's scoot it down to 3.5. And we're going to score again from the top down to 1.25 inches. Lift it up and go from 4.25 to 5.5. Then let's scoot it to the 4-inch mark. Oops, sorry. And let's go to from 1.25 inches down to 4.25. Then let's scoot it to 7 inches. Got to make sure I'm right on this. This one is top and bottom. So down to 1.25 inches. And then from 4.25 to 5.5. Then let's move it to 7.5 inches. And we're going to do a center panel only score line. So from 1.25 inches to 4.25. And then we're going to move it down for our last score line to the 9-inch mark. And we're going to score down to the 1.25 inch mark. And then from 4.25 to 5.5. All right, so that is all of our cutting and scoring. Let's go ahead and put these things away. Okay, now what you want to do is to bring in your bone folder. And so what I'm going to start doing first, though, is I'm going to start working with my score lines here just to kind of train it to go how I want it to go. On my Facebook Live, if you do check over there to see what I've been up to, I had demonstrated this and I had an extra score line and I was kind of just in awe. I had followed the directions. Well, I realized that when I was scoring it that I had made the indentation in the center panel. So If you should have that, don't worry, your DSP will cover it up, but just know that sometimes if you score it, it does just crease the paper, and yeah, you'll do great. All right, and if you have any questions regarding this fold, please do reach out. I'd be happy to help you. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to open up like this and just give these score lines a nice little crease. And then these ones here are a little hard to do, so let's just kind of twist it that direction. Like I said, I don't want to put any extras in there that don't belong. Okay, so then we're ready to go. So then what we're going to do is we are going to bring in, let's set this aside for just a second. So let's bring in some ink pads. So now let's do our stamping. So we're going to be using Pebbled Path, Mossy Meadow, Calypso Coral, and Misty Moonlight for our stamping. And we're going to use, let's bring in our papers. Excuse me, bear with me here. I'll give you all the measurements for this. You're going to have so much fun making these cards, and I'd love for you to share what your creations. Okay, so then let's go ahead and bring our card back in. So then for the side panels here, let's just double check our measurements. You are going to cut 2 of these pieces here that are, let me scoot it in just so you can see placement. So 2 of the Pebbled Path that are 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. 2 of the Let's Go Fishing DSP, which is this cool, I think it looks like a net background, 1.5 inches by 5 inches. And then we have 3 different panels. So for the center panel here, your base is going to be 2 3/4 by 3 1/4 Pebbled Path, layered with a Very Vanilla, which is going to be 3 by 2 1/2. And then you're going to want to cut 2 of the Pebbled Path pieces here that are going to be 2 1/4 by 2 3/4, and then Very Vanilla layers that are 2 by 2 1/2. And then for our designer series papers, so our little fishy papers here, you're going to cut 2 of those that are 1 1/16 by 3 1/4. Let me just verify that is correct. That is correct. And then 2 little pieces here that are 1 1/4 by 1 1/16. And then 2 that are 1 3/4 by 1 1/16. Okay, so we're going to just tuck those aside for the moment, but I am going to grab my 2 panels and do a little bit of stamping here. So for the first bit of stamping, we're going to go ahead and take our Pebbled Path, and let's go ahead and ink up our Happy Retirement. I'm going to stand up for this just so I get a good image here. And actually, this one is going to go up and down. All right, I'm going to do it about like so. All right, so we'll tuck that aside for a second, and then we're going to do good things come to those who wait. And let's just do that. Actually, I'm going to kind of go a little bit in on this one. Sorry, I'm off screen there. Okay, so that's our basic stamping with that. I'm going to keep my Pebbled Path open. Let's tuck those back over there for the moment. Okay, and actually, let's bring in our little chamois here and do a little cleanup so that we can stamp the rest of our images. Okay, so let's bring in our stamp set here. So I hope that this one is on your list. This is a great masculine stamp set, and the paper itself is just great for masculine cards. Or feminine, because like I said, I love to fly fish. That is something that I absolutely love to do. I do it with my husband, and we just thoroughly enjoy it. So, okay, so let's go ahead first and bring in our little bobber. And so we need the little bobber piece, and then we need our little detail piece. And so for the bobber outline, we are going to go ahead and stamp that in Pebbled Path. Let's ink that up. Clean it off real quickly here. And then we're going to go ahead and close that up. And let's bring in our Calypso Coral. So this one here is considered a 2-step stamping. So you have your outer image of your stamp, and then you have the detail. So for this detail, I'm going to ink up the part of my bobber with Calypso Coral. I'm going to stamp it off on my scratch paper because I want to create a lighter effect. And then line it up and stamp it down. So then we have our little bobber there. So let's go on to the next color. Let's do Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to create 2 fishing lures with the mossy meadow. So let's go ahead and open this up. So we're going to use, I'm kind of off camera here, but let's go ahead and use the little spoon ones. So we're going to use the outer part and then the detail. And so with this, I'm going to stamp 2 of them, and I'm going to create one that's a lighter colored mossy meadow and one that is full strength, as I'll call it. Okay, so let's stamp 2 of those. Get rid of that image, and then let's bring in our little details. And so for this first one, for the detail, we're going to go ahead and add it full strength. I'm going to go off camera for a second so I don't have to put my head in the camera. Okay, so we have the first one there, and then I'm going to go ahead, I'm not going to re-ink it, but I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it again. So I went ahead and just created that lighter image. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Then let's go ahead and create a couple more. Let's go ahead and stamp our fishing fly. And so actually where I live is called Fall River Mills, and we have a fun hatch here where we have huge fishing flies, which are called the hex bugs. And so our hex bugs are actually like a bright gold color. And I'll hop on one day and I will share them with you. They're pretty cool. But they're probably twice the size here of our little fly, I'd say. They're pretty crazy. But the fish love them, and it's quite a treat to be able to watch them feed on those and fish and catch them. So, all right, so we went ahead and stamped the fly. Now let's go ahead and stamp one of our other little lures. And we're going to grab this little fishy lure here, and we're going to ink it up in the Misty Moonlight. And then for the detail, let's go ahead and find that little piece up, which is the little fish head here. We're going to ink it up, and on this one, I'm going to go ahead and stamp it off. So we'll stamp it off, and then, sorry, I'm going to bring it down off screen again so I can line it up. So then we have just that lighter look, which actually looks a lot like, yeah, our boho. So you could bring in another color stamp pad, but we'll just go ahead and create the lighter look with that. Okay, so that's it for the stamping. Now what we're going to do, let's go ahead and put our little stamps away here. Now we're going to go ahead and focus on our die cutting and embossing. So we'll tuck those aside. Let me do a 2-second tidy here and get rid of all of these. Okay, so now let's go ahead and bring in our little pieces that I wanted to emboss. So I told you it doesn't really add a whole lot visually looking at it, but in person, it really does. So you can definitely, it adds a lot of texture. So I'm going to take these little pieces here, which when I first created this card, I had no idea it was on the back side because I had created just a thin strip, and I'm like, oh, it kind of looks like rope. But now that I look at the whole thing, it's a map. But I wasn't quite sure what it was. So now that I have taken a peek at all of the designer series paper, it's like, all right, this looks like a rope to me. And so we're actually going to give it texture. I laughed when I did my first video. I'm like, oh my goodness, I felt like such an idiot when I said, oh, I thought it was a rope. I needed to clarify that I had only cut a thin strip, and that's what I saw. All right, so what you're going to do is we are going to bring it over to our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I apologize that I'm going to have to go off camera. But for that, what you're going to use is you're going to use the base plate here. Oops, and I'm going to keep it straight. Okay, and then we're going to bring in our top plate, which is number 4. So you'll go ahead and sandwich that. So I'm going to run that through. I'll be right back. Just going to step aside here. I'm going to scoot it through my machine. All right. When you guys can't see if I lowered my camera, I have a little friend right here. I don't know if you can see him. Oh, sugar, I'm going to knock my whole camera over. But my dog Colt here is wanting to say hello to all of you. All righty. He's stamping with me today. His daddy is out fishing on the river once again, and so he's my little companion. I think he's not very happy he's trapped in here with me, but that's how it goes today. All right, so now let's go ahead and focus on our die cutting. So we're going to take platform number 1, platform number 2, and then 2 of our cutting pads, and let's go ahead and bring in our images that we need to die cut. So what we're going to do is I'm going to see if I can do as many at a time. So what we'll do is we'll do our little fly here. I'm going to line that up. And then our little bobber. Okay, and then let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, then we have our little fishing lure here. Okay, and I'm just going to go with one more, which is this fishing lure. And I think it's spaced fun enough. Okay, I'm going to cut these out real quick, and I will be right back. Oops, got to grab my cutting plate. I hope you guys are enjoying this video, and I hope that if you do enjoy this video, that you will be sure to like and subscribe to it. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to hear what kind of projects you'd like to see or what stamp sets you'd like me to stamp and create with. So I definitely love your feedback. All right, so let's go ahead and tuck these ones aside here. Those turned out okay. All right. Okay, so we have those ones there. We need to cut out our other one. But actually, for the sake of time, I'm actually going to do a little bit of, I'm going to bring in some images that I've already cut out, but I will explain exactly how I did them. All right, so what you're going to want to do is you're also going to want some scraps of our silver foil paper, which is absolutely beautiful. And then you'll want a piece of boho, a piece of pebbled path, and a piece of calypso coral. And then what you're going to do with those is you're going to cut out these little bits. And I actually have some of my little bits here that I've cut out. So to be able to make the little bobber here, you're going to need these 3 pieces. And you can change up the colors however you'd like. And then to create these little leaded weights, you're going to cut those out with the silver. And then this little piece here is just a little accent piece for our fishing fly. So let's go ahead and assemble all of these. This is a fun stamp set. I'd love to hear if any of you already have it or if it's on your wish list. Like I said, it was the first one on my list. Okay, so we're going to bring in all of our bits and pieces here. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring in some dimensionals. We're also going to bring in some Tombow glue. Those of you who stamp with me, you know that I am a Tombow girl. I love my liquid glue. And so let's go ahead and start with our little fishies here. So what I'm going to do is first decide how I want to position them, which one I want to go which way. And I think I'm going to have, I like this one better on top, so I'm going to put that fishy on top. So let's go ahead and add a smidge of glue to the back here. And oh, I just got a fresh glue, so let's go ahead and just position that. Tombow glue is just so forgiving when you're creating with it. It gives it a little bit of wiggle room. So if you don't get it straight the first time, you can kind of wiggle it into place. All right, then let's go ahead and add our little pieces for our textured rope. Glad I got to clarify myself with that. Okay, so let's do that piece. And then this other side here. All right, and then I was actually playing around earlier with a couple of the other dies in this set, but I didn't have time to redesign it. I've got a baby shower coming up next week, and I've been working on yesterday myself and my Sue, I call her my Sue Stamper, which is my mama. She helped me make 34 baby shower favors, so I'll be sharing those with you next week, but can't share them until after the shower because there's a few people that watch my videos that will be attending. Okay, so then let's go ahead and take some dimensionals for this next part. So we are going to go ahead and, actually, you know what? I didn't. I flattened it out. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to flatten this one out as well. For the 3 panels, I will go ahead and pop those out. And if you've stamped with me before, my motto is when in doubt, pop it out. But sometimes it gets a little bit too thick. I did mail my dad's Father's Day card off yesterday, and it cost like $1. I think it was like $1.03 to mail it, just because it had such thickness. But of course, that's definitely worth it. So my dad was definitely worth it. So I hope he enjoys his card. All righty. So we're going to go ahead and do our side panels, and let's go ahead and attach them to the main part of our card. Okay. All righty. This is pretty quick and easy once you get all the pieces cut. The scoring, like I said, is I think the hardest part is actually folding it and getting it trained to go how you want it. That's the hardest part. Oh goodness, one moment, I dropped one of my fishing flies. Oh goodness gracious. Okay, I'm back. All right, so now let's go ahead and take some of the larger dimensionals, and we're just going to place it here on the back side of our sentiment pieces. Pull these off. And then let's go ahead and attach those down. Okay. And then let's do the same. Actually, the center part we're not going to, because you know what? When you add your sentiment, you are not going to want, when you write, you don't want it to be too thick to where it makes it difficult to write your sentiment. So we'll go ahead and just keep that flat. So let's add that to the center. Oops, and I have a little tidy work to do there, but that's what our little eraser's for. Okay, whoops. Okay, then let's just do this last piece that says happy retirement, and we are going to pop it up. You guys, I'm looking, I already stamped it, so I have it on there twice, but that's okay. I'll go. I don't think we're going to be able to see through it, and if we do, I'll redo it after my video. Okay, all righty. Okay, so let's go ahead then and pop these end ones up. And again, going to go ahead and put dimensionals on the back of each of these. Excuse my reach there. Okay, so let's go ahead and just add this spaced just like so. And then let's go ahead and add the first panel. Okay. All right, so let's do that. And then, okay, now it's time for the fun part, which is using all of the little tidbits from the set. So we have our card ready to rock and roll, but let's go ahead and do some assembly. So what we're going to do, let's bring in a little hole punch if you have it, if not a pokey tool. And then for the lures, I'm going to go ahead and just punch out the little holes in the lure, because we're going to go ahead and feed twining through these. So there's just a couple of those that we need to do that too. So the 2 green lures and the bobber. Okay, so let's get those done. Then what you're going to want to do is bring in some mini glue dots. So let's grab our mini glue dots here, and then our twine. Or I'm sorry, not our twine. We're going to use linen thread. So let's go ahead and unspool a little of that. So then what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and take our linen thread and feed it through the front of our little lure here. Okay, and then we're going to secure it on the back side with a mini dimensional. And then, let's see, I'm going to grab some scissors. And we're just going to trim off a little bit. Let's do it to the next lure. So again, feed it through the front. Oops. And then trim off a little bit. And then for the bobber, we're going to do that a little bit differently. So I'm going to again feed it through the front. I'm going to add 1 dimensional just towards the top. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off the backing, and I'm going to kind of just loop it around a couple of times so that it catches the little dimensional. And then I'll just cut it off. Okay, so we have that piece ready. All right, so let's go ahead then and get ready to assemble our bobber. And so for our little bobber, what we're going to do, I'm going to bring this over, is we are going to take this little piece here, which is the center of it, and we're going to add just a smidge of glue. Oops, I don't want to get too much. They said it's brand new. Okay, so we have just a smidge of glue there. Then I'm going to go ahead and take this basic white piece and goodness gracious, center it the best that I can. And then we'll go ahead and take this piece here. Whoops. And you know what? I actually did it in the reverse. I'm thinking it looks a little bit different. You know why? But that's okay. There's no, I mean, fishing lures, if you go to a tackle store or go down, visit a sports store, you'll see that lures come in every color and size. And yeah, so we're just going with it. There we go. Okay, so we have that little piece. Then what we're going to do is we are going to apply some twine to it to just kind of embellish it. So I'm going to kind of fold it around the top, and I'm going to secure it. I'm actually going to secure it with a full-size dimensional because I think it can handle that. Yep, it can. Okay, so we have a full-size dimensional. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap it around a few times. And then I'm just going to maybe cut off a couple inches. Okay, whoops. Need to take off these little charms here. Stampin' Up! Had given this to us in one of our little goodie boxes for, I think it was a backstage or onstage event. And I like to keep it attached because when my desk is a mess, I can find what I'm looking for. So, all right. So now we're going to go ahead and assemble the card with all of our little bits here. So let me go ahead and make sure that we are on screen here. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to take this large bobber, and let's take one of our larger Stampin' Dimensionals. And let's see, being that I'm kind of switching this up, I'm just going to put it like so. Let's see, this one here, I think I'm going to have to switch it around because my sentiments are all a little different, but that's okay. That's the fun about Stampin'. Okay, and if you don't like it, you can always rip it off. So what I did is I went ahead and peeled off the backing and just attached the little piece of twine to it. I'm going to do that on both of them. And then let's figure out what I want, how I want to position them. Okay, so I do know that I want my fishing fly right up here in the corner. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this little bit of embellishment to it. So just this little bit of boho. It just kind of gives it a good pop. And it makes it look a little bit more realistic, I think. So let's go ahead and attach this down. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and peel off the backing. And let's see, I think we're still just going to go with it and stick that one right there. Actually, I don't want it on the crease though, so let's, oh, sugar is going to be the word of the day. Oh, goodness gracious. You know what? It might stay there and I might have to cut it. Oh, no, it still closes. All right, we're good, guys. All right, so then let's go ahead and take our little bobber. And I think what we're going to do is we're still going to do our bobber over here. So I'm going to peel off the backing here and attach that down. So we'll go ahead and go like so. And then let's go ahead and take our little lead weights here. And let's put a little dimensional on the back side of each of these. These are tiny little buggers. Okay, so let's peel off the backing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just attach it right over the top of the linen thread. All right, and that one I'm going to just leave like that for the moment. Actually, we'll give it a little haircut. Oh, wait just a second. Okay, so this front one, I think what we'll do is, let's see. I think we're going to, let's see, maybe we'll do that one and then that one. Yep, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to add a couple more dimensionals to this little guy. All righty. Guys, I get so nervous coming on here to do this for you, but I hope that you enjoyed this video. And I will be going live every Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock on Facebook. I'm hoping that eventually, I'm not sure when I can go live on Facebook and schedule things. I don't have quite enough viewers yet, or subscribers, but when I do, I will be sharing here live as well. But I just appreciate everybody that's following my posts, and yeah, I get to share what I love, which is wonderful. you know what, that's not going to fit super good. So we're just going to kind of go like so. And let's tilt him sideways. Okay, so we have that one, and then we're going to do this one here. And let's add another dimensional to this little guy. Goodness, I'm just getting partials. I cut a segment out. Okay. Whoops, and I can't lose that little extra little bobber. Okay, so let's go ahead then and add this little guy about like so. And then I'm going to add another little sinker weight to that little bobber, or that little piece. And I think that's good. I have a few extra pieces, but I don't think I'm going to add them. I think that's perfect. So what do you think about the card? I hope that you have enjoyed it. And let me go ahead and scoot everything out of the way so that you can see all three of the cards. So let's see here. So let's bring them all in. So here's the one that we made today, which is the Happy Retirement card. And then we have a Happy Father's Day card. Scoot that up. And then we have the original, which was a Happy Birthday card. So I hope that you enjoy these. Again, my name is Kim Myers, Stampin' with Kim, and I so appreciate you following along today on this video.